Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa podcast. If you are new to our channel, make sure you are subscribing, smash them likes in and comment your thoughts on a sad one. A sad one. And to be fair, credit to Douglas Luiz because we've never done one of these before. A farewell episode and an episode where we remember the good times of a player leaving. Generally, we've been happy to see the back of absolutely every single one of them. So this one, a bit sad, but something to really sort of like reflect on his time at Aston Villa. And his time at Aston Villa pretty much started when this podcast started. So as much as we've been on this journey together, so has Douglas Luiz. And I think it's so important to be thankful and sort of remember what Douglas Luiz has actually done for us. Because when Douglas Luiz came into Aston Villa with those blonde braids, he wasn't half the player that he was when he's leaving. And this football club wasn't half the club that it is now. And we've been on this massive journey with Douglas Luiz. And we've been able to watch him grow as a young footballer that was decent, but still had a lot to learn. And he had a lot to learn. He had a lot to adapt to. And the player that he's now leaving is an absolute fantastic player. And it's unfortunate in the circumstances that Douglas Luiz has had to leave. I think we can all understand why he's had to leave. But, those memories of him are going to be great. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through some of our standout memories of Douglas Luiz. And we're just going to chat about him and how good he's been, basically. So we'll kick it off with you, Ryan. Thoughts on Douglas Luiz?
Sad for me. I'm bitterly disappointed that he's leaving this football club. I've got a personal, emotional attachment to that player. It's been a great journey, hasn't it? From, like you said, when the pod started was just after lockdown, and post-lockdown, Dougie just come into his own. He was terrific in that running. Obviously, he started off the campaign with that absolute rocket against Bournemouth, really announced himself. But post-lockdown, I thought he was superb coming out of it. He then went on and won the Olympics, didn't he? Got gold medal. So everything was looking good for him. Again, under Smith, very, very good. Bit wobbly under Gerrard, like everybody else was. But then in comes Unai Emery and transforms Dougie Luiz. He's matured in this last 18 months into a terrific, stylish, beautiful baller in the middle of the park that's got goals, that's got assists, that added set pieces to his game. He's been wonderful. And numerous amounts of times I've been on that fan cam after we've seen a Villa Park special, and Clive is my favourite player. I crowned him King of the Park, I think, when he scored 6 in the park, and it equalled Dwight York's or beat Dwight York's record of consecutive goals at home. So he's been unreal, absolutely unreal. But it's the nature of the game, isn't it? PSR, FFP, and no longer is the game played on the pitch. The game is played behind the scenes. It's played every single day, isn't it? It's not just about kicking a ball anymore. There's so much things going on behind the scenes now. With Dougie, we don't know whether he was stalling on a contract. We don't know whether he was told, look, you're an asset and we've got to try and move you on. We don't know. We don't know whether he asked to leave. We're unsure at the minute of the circumstances behind the move, but pretty much you can put the move down to us being compliant with PSR. We're still, I feel, feeling the aftermath of the Gerrard and to an extent the Purslow era, that rash spell where I think we've handed out a lot of mega contracts and spent a lot of money. And I feel this is probably the conclusion of it now. Dougie moving on, us being compliant with PSR, giving ourselves the future now to build. And I think that just puts a stop to that era, and we can look forward. And The thing is, we've got an elite squad building structure in place at the club. It's not just Monchi, it's not just Emery, it's the numerous scouts we've got all around the world. And if you back anybody to build a squad, it's this team. And our owners have given everything, all the resources. We've obviously had to play to the rules. We can't just be like taking 2-point deductions because we're not playing by the rules. We have to play by the rules, and the sale of Douglas Luiz is a consequence of that. But when one player leaves, opportunity for the next. And Unai Emery, like I said, he transformed Douglas, and he'll try and transform the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And we don't know yet Emery's style for next season. We don't know what type of players we're looking at. You know, you take Luiz out, who scored lots of goals from midfield. Now, who's going to replace them goals? You might be saying, well, Ramsey hasn't contributed all season. Buendia hasn't contributed. Them two might make up the goals, and we have a different type of number 6 in that double pivot. We don't know how it's going to evolve. I think defensively we're going to reshape. So bring on transfer funds, bring on the rest of the window. Yeah, the window's only just opened, so we've got a long way to go.
I think you've made some fantastic points there, and
just
really
important.
Yeah, we don't need just.
I got a bit carried away there, didn't I?
All the best up there.
Right, like, comment, and subscribe right now. You've made some great points there, because I think context is everything, and I think within raw emotion of a really good player leaving, you can be disappointed and you can be sad. But the way I am as a person, I look for the positives and I look to move on. Right, I don't dwell. Like I'll dwell on it for 5 minutes and I'm moving on. Right, and I think that's where we are as a club as well now, in the sense of you can have a little setback, but where's that next opportunity? Where's the club going? And I go back to sort of like Grealish leaving. When Grealish left, it felt like Villa had ended, right? Because that was the magnitude of the player. He was our best player. He was our style of play. He was the only real, like, proper quality at the time. Like, he was Aston Villa. And Villa had to completely create a brand new identity. And it's took until now to get to the elite point of Aston Villa. So what I'm trying to say is that the future is very, very bright for Aston Villa. And if you think about that, we've got rid of a really good player and it's still bright. It's still like we're going into a season in the Champions League. That is absolutely massive. And I think like what you're saying as well, like, and I keep reiterating this, it's that you can't judge a transfer window while it's still happening, because we don't know who's coming in. We don't know what midfielders could come in. We don't know what the defense is going to look like. So I think once it's all finished and done, and Unai and Monchi have created this team and sorted out who's going where and what the actual plan is, I think we'll be in a real solid shape. So, Justin, your thoughts on Luiz?
I'm disappointed. It's a shame, isn't it? I mean, I don't have many players' names on my shirts.
You do. You got loads.
No, not the modern ones. I've got historical ones, but I've got Merson, Taylor. But I've got I've got what I would call iconic players on my shirts. I've got Merson, Ian Taylor, Martinez. So I suppose that's a modern one. But that season, the one player when I had this shirt done that stuck out for me was Douglas Luiz. So I'm going to really miss the guy. But I totally buy into the reasoning behind this. No one player can ever be bigger than our football club. And I think the Jack Grealish sale made me, I always knew that anyway, but that really hyper-focused me on what's important. Players will always come and go. Managers will always come and go. What's the most important part of every cycle of teams and eras is the fans and where the football club sits. Now, the Douglas Luiz era has come to an end, but in that space of time, 4 or 5 years, whatever it is, look where we've gone from and to. And that's all you can ask for. Every player that comes into our club, you only hope that 2 things happen. One, that they are as good as you hope they're going to be, and they improve us. And I think that's happened massively with Douglas Luiz. We've improved him. He's improved us. We've got to a place now where we can let him go for financial reasons. I think we all know that's why he's gone. I mean, the conjecture around this contract, is it on the table? Has he signed it or not? We'll never know that. Maybe that was a contributory factor to why this happened. But where he is now is he can go now happily. I can say thank you, Doug, for everything you've done for Villa. Go and enjoy your career. I'm so glad he's going abroad. He's not going to play in England. I wouldn't have liked that. Go and enjoy yourself in Italy. He's played in Spain. He's played in England. He's going to go and play in Italy. What a career he's going to have. And he's been great for us. But we draw a line under it and we move on. And that's how it has to be. Yes, we don't want it to be like that, but players have to come and players have to go. I feel like we're selling him at a good time. That's going to sound counterintuitive in the fact that he's a good player and he still would add value to our team. But I think there's every player hits a peak value and then they drop away. Now, historically, we've always bought players that are on the way down because of where we found ourselves in the league. So you're buying players that have had their peak and they're on the way down. We signed Douglas Luiz before his peak and we enjoyed him to his peak. And he might very well go on and have a good 18 months, 2 years, maybe in 3 more years in his contract, in his career before he starts to really drop off. But we've seen him, I think, at his best. If he's any better than he has been for the last 18 months for us in Italy, I think they've signed a hell of a player, like a hell of a player. But I also think he's happy to go because I think Italy probably suits his game more now. And I think we've seen that, his pace, he's not massively pacey. What he does do is he controls the game really well. He's ultra comfortable on the ball. He dictates play. And in Italy, where the style is a bit slower, a bit more measured, he can sort of really get on that ball, put his foot on the ball, do his little sways, look up, pick a pass out. I think they'll absolutely adore him in Italy. But overall, I've loved having him. Dancing Dougie. What a bloke, honestly. The corner goals. I was at Luton last year and probably one of the best since Sid Cowan's, who was a master at picking a player out. One of the best assists I've ever seen live. The outside of the boot round the corner to Ollie. I don't think I fully appreciated how good it was on the day because it looked like he just pinged the ball round the corner. But when you watch it in slow motion, which we did afterwards multiple times, the quality.
It's that good. He forgot where it was. It was at Sheffield, wasn't it?
Wasn't it Luton when he dinked it?
No, Sheffield United.
Sheffield United.
Oh, God, yeah, wherever it was, when he outside of the ball.
Luton was the one that he did that, weren't it? He pinged it high to... Yeah,
I knew there was another one. Right. So, yes. So, the dreaded words, the dreaded letters, the PSR, the FFP, BS has had Douglas Luiz off us. So hopefully we can draw a line under them annoying words now and we can move on.
Yeah. So I thought it'd be nice if we could all pick out. I think Justin's already done it. So he's already picked out his favourite Douglas Luiz moment then. So me and Ryan can do ours. I've got a couple that are just a bit out there, that are a bit like offbeat. Justin's already mentioned the corner goals, which I thought were brilliant in that spell of when he kept doing it. I thought that was great. His little fisherman celebration, that was great as well. Love that. But my biggest thing for him, it is a testament to the player in himself, is that it's not one singular moment. It's his development on what he's become at Aston Villa. And I know we've sort of touched on it already at the start about sort of like coming in against Bournemouth and, I think, did me and you go to Leicester away after the final, Ryan, or did I go on my own? I can't remember.
That's right.
And
That's it. Yeah, just before COVID,
and,
wasn't it?
and it was just, I was on row 3, and it was pissing it down, and like we were done and dusted. We were down, and then he got us through it, and the development of that player, how he was able to just control games, and him and Kamara had that great relationship. So not one singular goal for me, more of how he's actually sort of blossomed at Villa, really. So yeah, that's my plus points from him. What are yours, Ryan?
Yeah, I sort of go along the same road as you, Luke. Just in the last 18 months, his personality has just exploded onto the pitch. Like you say, his celebration, that's his personality coming out. He felt confident enough to express himself. There's a great image of him holding the corner flag when he scored. Obviously, I've already touched on, he scored in 6 home games in a row. To do that from deep lying midfield is an extraordinary feat. He took on the penalties, so composed all season. I think, was it Luton when he waited for about 30 seconds and everyone, what's he doing? And he just walks up and dinks it in. So it's been brilliant. His goals, he was part of the core that got us into the Europa Conference, and he was part of the core that got us into Champions League football. He scored some big goals en route to qualifying for both of them tournaments. He's been brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
So you know what's happening there, don't you? Juventus at Villa Park, innit? That's what's happening. They're in the Champions League, aren't they?
I think so.
I think half the Italian division are in the Champions League.
Yeah,
top 8, aren't they?
They finished third, didn't they? So
yeah,
these things come round, don't they? So I think we're going to see him again pretty soon. So I reckon we'll draw Juventus. So yeah, I just thought we'd just come on and just talk about him, really, because it's I think sometimes when players leave, it's like, they've gone, and I think Luiz needs that little bit of airtime, really, because of how good he's been, really. So I'd love everyone in the comment sections to drop their thoughts on how they feel about Luiz as well. And then we've just got to move on from this now and sign some players and probably move a few more players on and just build this elite team that's going to take us to European glory next season. So up the Douglas Luiz.
Up the Dougie.
Up the Dougie.